It is 6:25 as we jump into 2012. Many people are making resolutions, including some to lose weight.
But when it comes to your financial health, how about gaining a little fiscal weight? Perhaps, I don't know, a raise maybe? Denise Winston joining us this morning, as she always does every Thursday, with some ideas on how to get that raise.
I've got 3 of them today.
How do we make ourselves more valuable?
Well, number one, we've got to realize that performance reviews are happening every single year.
Okay.
And we're not required to get a raise because we pretty much all make over minimum wage, right?
Right.
So when you think about it, you've got to just be aware of it. And the average raise this year is going to be 3%, with top performers bringing in up to 4.6%. So that's pretty significant. And management only does a review once a year. So we've got to make sure that we make our boss's job easier. And really making sure we get that raise now is going to propel us year over year. If you get a 3% raise this year, you can bank on it next year and the year after that.
Okay, so where do we start?
First thing that you want to do is you want to time it right. You want to make sure that you realize how this process works. Budgets are rolled out from November, December, given to management teams, and then management teams sit down and do reviews and allocate those funds.
Right.
So you've got to get information to your boss before your funds are committed to somebody else. Because when do you get your raise? When you get your review, right?
Right.
Which is usually in February and March. So you've got to make sure you get information to them. So the second thing that you want to do is you've got to prove your worth. Okay? Making sure that you script this appropriately to your boss is going to be key. Let them know, number one, that you are very excited about your review because 2011 was a great year for you, and you happen to provide them with some talking points. Okay. And that's going to be specific accomplishments over and above the regular stuff. They're going to track how many days you've been sick, and they're going to track your performance on special projects that you've been assigned. But if you did fundraising for an event and you raised a lot of money, or you took a leadership role, those are the things that you want to give them as talking points. And anytime you can make their job easier, it's going to be key.
And because a lot of times I think you're saying managers will tend to overlook certain things that you think they should know about. Oh, they know that I did this or I did that.
We forget what we do. So the last thing you want to do really is to have track it. You want to make sure you have an accomplishments folder. So anytime you get an email from your boss that you did a really good job, print it out and put it in the file.
Okay.
Because you're going to forget. Or if you're selected for a special project, or a customer or a viewer writes in and says they love the way you did something. That way you have something specific. And on top of that, not only will it allow you to get a better review next year, but it's going to allow you to have information if you need to do a new resume or if you need to prepare for an interview. You have specific talking points, and that's what management really wants in corporations. They want specific information that's demonstrated results, and having this type of stuff is what's going to really make sure that you get what you're entitled to, that raise.
January is a perfect month to start. We'll start now and maybe get that raise for next year.
And if you want to know where you stand on the pay scale, you can actually go to payscale.com and salary.com to find out what the wages are.
Payscale.com, salary.com.
Can I borrow that folder?
You can have it as
Can I
read.
have this one?
You want the notes? You want her notes too?
I just need the folder.
Denise, thank you so much for joining us this
Appreciate
morning.
it.
We'll see you again next week.
It is 6:28 right now, and this morning's Tech Bites, the folks at Apple are going back to school.
And hot new technology continues to come from consumer electronics. Here's ABC's Paula Ferris.
In today's Tech Bites, new Apple speculation. Apple is making an announcement in New York next week, only saying it's related to education. But the New York Times reports it will be Apple's push into the digital textbook business. Steve Jobs had said he wanted to transform that market. LG is making headlines at this week's Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas with its super slim 55-inch OLED television. CNET's Dan Ackerman says it's already a fave.
The screens are incredibly bright and they're incredibly thin. This one is only 4 millimeters thick, and you really have to see it to understand how insanely slim it is.
It's also going to be insanely expensive, $7,000 to $8,000 at first. Also at CES, Polaroid is showing a new smart camera. It's a cross between a smartphone and a point-and-shoot camera. Like a phone, it runs on Android and uses Wi-Fi and 3G. Those are your Tech Bites. I'm Paula Ferris.
6:29. Next week we celebrate, of course, Dr. Martin Luther King Day, a day designated for service to your community. And what better way to show your neighbors support than sticking yourself in the arm? Well, someone else will do it at Houchin, but you just need to go in. They're launching their Martin Luther King Jr. Day Blood Drive. It's today, runs through Saturday at Houchin's Truxton location. They're looking for volunteers to help run this drive, as well as you, donors. You'll also have the opportunity to enter a drawing to win one of several themed gift baskets. If you'd like more info, call Peggy at 323-4222. 323-4222.
Easy enough.